Have you ever started listening to something in English, a podcast, a video, maybe even a conversation, and after 2 minutes, you realize your mind has completely drifted away? You hear the sounds, but you don't really understand the meaning. If that happens to you, you're not alone. Almost every English learner struggles with focus at some point. The good news? Staying focused is a skill, and like any skill, you can train it. Welcome to the Best English Podcast. I'm Sarah, and I'm so glad you're here. If you enjoy learning English with real, simple lessons like this one, don't forget to like this episode, subscribe, and share it with a friend who's also learning. The more you surround yourself with English, the easier it becomes. Now let's get into it. The real problem is not just that English is fast or difficult. The real problem is that our brains are not used to focusing on a second language for a long time. It's like a muscle. It gets tired quickly. But just like muscles, you can train your focus step by step. Before we talk about techniques, let's ask an important question. Why do we lose focus so quickly when listening to English in the first place? Think about the last time you listened to English. Maybe it was a podcast, a YouTube video, or even the news. At first, you felt motivated, you wanted to understand. But then, after a few minutes, your mind started wandering. You thought about your phone, your to-do list, or maybe what to eat for dinner. By the time you came back, you had already missed half of what was said. Why does this happen? There are a few common reasons. First, English feels fast. Native speakers often connect words, drop sounds, and use expressions you may not know. When your brain can't catch everything, it feels stressed. And when you feel stressed, your focus breaks. Second, the content is too heavy. Many learners try to listen to long lectures, movies, or complicated podcasts. If the material is far above your level, your brain works too hard and eventually gives up. Third, we listen passively. Sometimes we just press play and hope our brain will magically understand everything. But passive listening doesn't keep your attention. You need small goals to keep your brain engaged. And finally, our environment distracts us. Notifications on your phone, background noise, even just being tired can pull your mind away from English. The important thing is this: losing focus is normal. It doesn't mean you're bad at English. It just means you need strategies to keep your attention strong. So the real question is, if distraction is so natural, what can we actually do to stay focused while listening in English, even when the content feels fast or difficult? Here's the truth. Staying focused doesn't start with the audio itself. It starts before you even press play. Most learners don't realize this. They just jump into listening and hope their mind will stay sharp. But without preparation, your brain is like a runner starting a race without warming up. It gets tired too fast. So what should you do? Step 1. Set a clear purpose. Ask yourself, what do I want to get from this listening? Maybe it's understanding the main idea. Maybe it's catching 5 new words. Or maybe it's training your ear for connected speech. When your brain has a target, it naturally pays more attention. Step 2. Prepare your mind. This can be as simple as taking a deep breath, silencing your phone, and reminding yourself, I'm going to give these 5 minutes to English only. It's like making a deal with your brain. No distractions allowed. Step 3. Preview. If you're listening to a podcast or news story, read the title or short description first. Think about what you already know about the topic. This creates mental hooks, so when you hear key words, your brain connects them more easily. Imagine you're about to listen to a story about climate change. If you remind yourself, okay, I know words like pollution, energy, carbon. Then when you hear them, your brain doesn't panic. It feels ready. The more you prepare, the longer your focus will last. But preparation alone is not enough. Because once you actually start listening, another big challenge appears. Your brain wants to understand every single word, and that's where many learners lose concentration. Have you ever noticed how your brain panics when you miss a single word? You hear something, you don't catch it, and suddenly you're thinking, wait, what did they say? Did I miss something important? While you're busy worrying, the speaker keeps going, and just like that, you lose the next 5 sentences. This is one of the biggest focus killers in English listening. The truth is, even native speakers don't hear every word all the time. They don't pause the conversation, they don't rewind. They keep listening for the main idea. So here's a mindset shift. Don't fight for 100% understanding. Instead, train yourself to follow the flow. Your goal is not perfection, your goal is connection. Here's a simple exercise. When you listen, keep your attention on the keywords, the nouns, verbs, and repeated phrases. These are like the skeleton of the message. The small words like the, kind of, are muscles and skin, but without the skeleton, they don't mean much. For example, if the news says, after weeks of heavy rain, several towns in the north experienced serious flooding, forcing hundreds of families to leave their homes. Even if you only catch weeks of rain, towns, flooding, families leave homes, you still understand the core meaning. That's enough to stay in the story. Once you train your brain to let go of the little words and hold on to the big ones, you'll notice something powerful. Your focus lasts longer and listening feels less stressful. But that raises another question. How can you train your brain to grab those keywords automatically without losing the bigger picture? Think about how a photographer takes pictures. They don't try to capture every single detail in the room. Instead, they frame the most important part, the subject, so the viewer's eyes go straight to it. Listening in English works the same way. When you train your ears, you're not trying to photograph every single word. You're training your brain to spot the subject, the words that carry the real meaning. And the best way to do this is through focused listening drills. Here's one you can try today. 1. Pick a short audio clip, no more than 30 seconds. 2. Listen once without stopping. Don't write anything, just notice what words jump out. 3. Then, listen again and write down only the key words you hear. Not full sentences, just words like rain, flooding, families, homes. 4. After that, check the transcript if you have one and compare. You'll be surprised how many important words you already caught. This kind of practice is like going to the gym for your listening muscles. At first it feels heavy and slow, but after a few weeks your brain gets faster at catching those keywords without effort. And here's the magic part. Once you stop chasing every word, you free up your brain's energy. Instead of stressing about grammar or tiny details, you stay focused on the main idea. That's when listening becomes natural. When you can follow a movie, a podcast, or a real conversation without feeling exhausted. But there's still one more trap many learners fall into. They listen without engaging their mind. Here's the truth. Just because English is playing in the background doesn't mean your brain is learning. Many learners turn on the news, podcasts, or music and tell themselves, I'm practicing English. But what's really happening? Their mind is on cooking, scrolling the phone, or daydreaming. That's not listening. That's hearing without focus. Real progress comes from active listening. Active listening means your brain is awake, curious, and asking questions as you listen. It's like being part of the conversation, even if you're just listening to a recording. Here's how you can make it active. Before you press play, set a small goal. For example, I'll try to catch how many times they say the word because, or I'll focus on understanding the reasons behind the news story. While listening, write down quick notes, just 2 to 3 words that capture the main points. Don't worry about spelling or grammar. The point is to keep your brain engaged. After listening, pause and repeat the key ideas back to yourself out loud. Imagine you're explaining the story to a friend. This simple shift, from passive to active, completely changes the game. Instead of words flying past you, your brain starts holding on to them, connecting them, and making them yours. And here's something interesting. When you practice active listening, even short clips become powerful. 5 minutes of focused listening often teaches you more than 1 whole hour of passive hearing. But here's the challenge. How do you stay active and avoid drifting away when the audio gets long or the speaker talks fast? That's exactly the problem we're about to tackle. Have you ever felt that after 2 or 3 minutes of listening, your mind just switches off? The words keep coming, but it all turns into one long stream of noise. This is one of the biggest reasons learners lose focus. The solution isn't to push harder or force yourself to pay more attention. Your brain isn't a machine. It needs breaks, structure, and patterns. The trick is to break down the noise into smaller pieces your mind can handle. Here's how you do it. Chunk the audio. Instead of listening to 10 minutes straight, listen to 1 or 2 minutes, pause, and quickly summarize what you understood. Spot keywords. Don't try to catch every single word. Focus on signal words like however, because, the reason is, in conclusion. These guide you through the meaning. Listen with your eyes too. If there's a transcript or subtitles, use them wisely. First listen without reading, then replay while reading along. It makes the sounds stick more deeply. Think of it like eating. You don't swallow your entire meal at once. You take bites, chew, and then move on. Listening works the same way. And here's the interesting part. Once you train your brain to chunk English naturally, even long podcasts or news reports stop feeling overwhelming. They turn into clear sections, each with a main idea you can follow. But there's still one more piece missing. Because even if you break things down, your focus can still slip if you're not emotionally connected to what you hear. Have you noticed that when you watch a movie you love or listen to a story that touches you, you don't struggle to focus? Time passes quickly, and you remember the details without even trying. That's because your brain locks on to emotion. The same rule applies when you're listening to English. If what you hear feels cold, boring, or irrelevant, your mind will drift. But if it feels alive, if it connects to something you care about, you'll stay with it, almost without effort. So here's the strategy. Choose content that matters to you. If you love sports, listen to sports news. If you're curious about science, find a short science podcast. Passion fuels focus. Create a personal connection. Ask yourself, how does this topic affect me? What do I think about it? Suddenly, you're not just hearing English, you're having a mental conversation with it. React as you listen. Smile, nod, even whisper short responses like, "Really? Oh, I see," or "That's interesting." This active engagement keeps your brain awake. Here's something powerful. Your brain remembers emotional experiences far longer than neutral ones. If you tie listening practice to curiosity, surprise, or even a little laughter, you won't just focus better, you'll also remember more. And this is where it all comes together. Focus is not about discipline alone. It's about building habits, breaking down the noise, and connecting emotionally to the language. When you put these pieces together, English listening stops being a tiring exercise and starts becoming something you actually look forward to. Now, the real question is, what will you do with this focus? Will you use it to finally enjoy English movies without subtitles, to follow real conversations, or to feel confident in daily life? That's in your hands. And before you go, if this episode helped you, show your support with a like, share it with a friend who's also learning, and subscribe so you don't miss the next lesson. Every small action helps keep this community growing. Because remember, learning English isn't about perfection, it's about connection. And when you focus with heart and practice with purpose, you'll find that English becomes not just something you study, but something you live. So we've covered a lot in this episode. Removing distractions, breaking listening into small parts, training with repetition, and most importantly, connecting emotionally to what you hear. These aren't just random tricks. Together, they form a system. A system that keeps your mind sharp, your ears open, and your motivation alive. But let me ask you this. What if you don't use them? What if you continue listening passively, letting your mind wander, hoping one day you'll just get it? The truth is, you won't. Focus is not a gift, it's a skill. And like any skill, it grows only when you practice it deliberately. Here's your challenge for this week. Pick one English audio source you truly enjoy. Maybe a short podcast, a TED Talk, or even one of our older episodes. Set a 10-minute window each day where you listen with full attention. No phone, no multitasking. Apply the methods we discussed. Take notes, predict what's coming, react emotionally, and repeat small sections until they feel natural. If you do this for just 7 days, you'll notice a real difference, not only in your focus, but also in your confidence. You'll start to feel that English isn't speeding away from you anymore. You're catching up with it. And here's the best part. Once focus becomes a habit, listening stops being stressful. It becomes a doorway to stories, knowledge, and connection with the world. So stay consistent, stay curious, and most of all, stay kind to yourself. Progress in English is not about giant leaps. It's about small, steady steps that build into something powerful. Thank you for spending this time with me on the Best English Podcast. I'm Sarah, and I hope today's strategies help you listen with more focus and confidence. If you found value in this episode, please give it a like, subscribe for more lessons, and share it with someone who's also on their English journey. And don't forget, you can explore more episodes right here on the channel. Each one is designed to help you understand faster, remember more, and feel more natural in English. Until next time, keep listening, keep practicing, and keep believing in your ability.